The estimated cost of connecting Victoria's renewable energy zones is expected to almost double to $8 billion. That's according to a new report by the government's transmission agency. This report also shows that the total cost of the projects has risen from 4.3 to 7.9 billion compared with last year's draft edition. The agency also says because the projects are in their early stages, it could actually end up being substantially higher or lower.
I wouldn't put my money on lower.
No, exactly, Joe. The state government is saying Victorians will ultimately save $20 a year once everything is finished, but taxpayers will be paying the price until then. So, Joe, you just chimed in there about how it's going to cost more, and you're right, though. It's costing a fortune.
I love that spin. Oh, it's early days. Oh, it could be much cheaper than we've expected. No, this is what.
But when do we get to a point, though, Joe, and just say, this is not working, it is costing a fortune, and we're not getting transparency about how much it actually is going to be?
Well, I suppose every government project goes way over budget. And if you've been following politics and reporting on it, you just know that every single one, it's not just renewables, it's everything. Every road, every rail line will always go way over budget. Part of that is because things just blow out, and part of it is it's like when you get, your house done and, the builder's going to go, oh dear, you've got asbestos, that's going to be another, or they're just discovering things as they go, often perfectly legitimately. The other thing though, of course, is that you underquote, well, like the building industry as well, you underquote to get the job done or to get the tender, and then once it's done, you're doing everything, you're in the real world, and suddenly those real costs come into play, and we know there are massive costs just with shortage of materials and labour. So I'm not surprised whatsoever. I think it's something that we just have to do. It is something the rest of the world is doing, and it is something we have to, it is a train that is leaving the station whether we're on it or not. So I think saying, let's just abandon renewables, I don't think is viable, but I know I'm in the minority.
I don't say let's just abandon all renewables, but Kel, the Victorian government have said that they estimate by 2040 about 230,000 hectares of the state's land will be lost to renewables. Now, the reason why this stands out for me is I literally had a farmer today reach out to me on social. She's a sixth-generation farmer, and she just said the distress that's going through her community right now, their land is being devalued. They said it's just destroying the community. And it's also the fact that they just don't have a choice in the matter as well, that it's you've been chosen, effectively, you're going to have the wind turbines on your land. I feel as though, Kel, the farmers really are the ones that are taking the brunt of this desire to get to net zero by 2050.
They're paying the price for the inner city left-wingers who really like the vague concept of renewables. I mean, a whole lot of the rest of the world is abandoning the idea that we need huge amounts of renewables and are going back to things like nuclear power. So there's not some massive worldwide trend going. But this is a problem for the farmers. And what it reminded me of when I thought about it today was it reminded me of the Vietnam War. American troops would go out and they would come back and say, we had to destroy the village to save it. And sometimes it was tragically true, as in the case of My Lai. They would flatten a village. They would burn a village because that was the only way to make sure there were no Viet Cong there. These people are having to destroy the bush to save it. We're supposed to be saving the planet. We're supposed to be saving the environment. And what they're doing is they're destroying it to do that. And they can't see it. They're not clever enough. They're not intelligent enough to see what they're doing. People who live in the cities have got no idea how enormous these turbines are. These turbines are the height of Sydney Tower. What they ought to do is take that little area that's got all the restaurants in it at the top of Sydney Tower, take that off and put a turbine there, because that's how tall these things are. They are that big. They are that ugly. They're putting huge numbers of on an area of land as close as they can fit them in. And they'll have to do it again in 20 or 25 years. They'll all get pulled down. The whole of that stuff will have to be somehow carted away or disposed of, and it will all have to be rebuilt again. It's not an intelligent idea. And these families who farmed land, I'm married to a farmer's daughter, these families who farmed lands for generations are suddenly saying, we know how to do this, we know how to raise sheep and cattle, we know how to grow wheat, we can't cope with this. And somehow or other, people who live in the cities have got to come to terms with who is paying the price and stand up for them.